Hi, my name is Trisha Barasa. My friends call me Trish. I'm a public policy specialist and a mom to two loving children, a daughter, a friend, a great friend, and a sister. Yeah, and I'm also a very strong health advocate, especially on chronic conditions. Yeah.
And you've struggled with pain management. Kindly take us to the very beginning. How did it start?
Okay, so my journey with pain management is largely as a result of chronic conditions, which at some point had been misdiagnosed, but eventually we came down to I suffer from systemic lupus erythematosus, which people call lupus. I also suffer from endometriosis. I have had challenges with coccydynia, and along the way a road accident. And then the endometriosis also came with adenomyosis. And all these are conditions that are punctuated by a lot of pain. Yeah, like what you would call severe pain. So I probably have left out one or the other. And then, of course, medication you take for this pain has also led me to suffering from very severe gastritis, and it's chronic. So that means that my gut is almost always inflamed, and that presents in a very painful, severely painful manner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How did it affect your life?
Pain, first of all, pain is a very, what do I say, personal thing. And then at the same time, pain really lowers the quality of your life. The thing about pain is it eats you from inside. It feels like a knife is cutting you. And in a great sense, it's psychological because there's no knife. The knife is within. And pain can make it feel like it's no longer normal. Actually, it's never normal during a painful episode. Pain has led me to look like a child, you know, sometimes crying in pain, and sometimes just totally blacked out because pain has zapped out your vitals. It spikes your blood pressure. And yes, I also suffer from high blood pressure because of some of these chronic conditions and their impact on the body. It will raise your temperature. Pain will make you sweat and make you feel like your tongue is full inside your mouth and as if blades are cutting inside you. Pain really just lowers the quality of your life and impacts on your mental health in ways that are sometimes not even describable. Yeah, so it's biological, physical, psychological, social. It will cut you out because you can't engage on normal day-to-day activities, yeah, because you're in pain. Yeah.
I would appreciate if you could paint the picture for us, like when you mean that it slows your quality of life, to what extent and how?
I'm currently not formally employed, but I have wanted to step out of the house to go to work and been stopped on my tracks by pain. And having to call your boss and tell your boss that I'm not able to attend that meeting, and you're letting down an entire organization's plans for the day because you're in pain. And it's nothing that you brought upon yourself. And perhaps a recent episode which comes to mind, and this is just in my personal life. And the lady who helps me with work in the house was here. It was a Saturday. We were done for the day. And I was happily saying bye to her. And I just felt this urge in my stomach. And I'd earlier taken something for my joints. Because even to sometimes carry out day-to-day tasks is a problem. If this joint can't move as it's supposed to be, that's a problem. You will not be able to cook food. Or you want to cook food, but not today, maybe another day. And so this day she had come to offer a hand as she does every so often. And as she was saying goodbye, I wasn't responding. And she found me in the bathroom on the floor, and I'd passed out because of pain. I felt so much pain. I tried to scream out her name, and I couldn't call her out. Yeah, and thanks to very good neighbors, she quickly rushed to a neighbor's house across. And the neighbor came in, and I was rushed to hospital. And the primary issue I was dealing with was pain. Of course, I was having my periods and endometriosis, and so I was in some bit of pain here and there, but I didn't know it was going to reach that magnitude. It stopped me from functioning that day, and I was in hospital for 8 hours just because of pain.
And when people think of pain management, the first thing that comes to mind is probably taking the over-the-counter painkillers, and then you get a quick fix and go about your life. But you've been in a situation where you've taken really, really strong painkillers to manage this pain. Kindly take us through the process.
Okay, so pain meds are like a ladder. So you graduate up the ladder depending on the level of pain you're in, and also depending on the condition you're dealing with or you're living with. And a lot of times the doctors will be able to distinguish, make a difference between what pain meds will work for you and what will not. Diclofenac could very much help me, and it's available across the counter. But it may come with its side effects. And then there are those moments when diclofenac will not help me at all, because it is more than just that pain which can be handled by diclofenac. So there's moderate pain, there is mild pain, and there's severe pain. And then there's also what doctors do when they're taking care of someone who's at their end stage of life. And you just really want them to have a decent, a dignified way of, living, so that they don't go out in such pain, and that they call palliative care. So they graduate this. For those of us who live with conditions like endometriosis, lupus, these are very painful conditions. It's not just the other headache and, the usual joint pains or a muscle sprain. It's pain that actually can pass you out. It's pain that, for me, if you monitor me, and I have been even in the ICU on those machines that pick up your vitals, my blood pressure goes up because of pain when it's severe. Yeah, and it can go out to a level where it's worrisome, as if the next thing would be a stroke. So I have had all those pain meds, from the diclofenac, the brufen, very, very good anti-inflammatories, also with their side effects. I have taken pain meds for nerve pain, because of my back problem and the nerves that are affected. So that would mean that the pain med that you take, say paracetamol, which is not for nerve pain, would not work. You would take 50 of them, but they would not work. And if it's not an inflammation, your headache would not respond to maybe diclofenac. It would need Panadol or paracetamol. Yeah, so it depends also with the pain you're having, the cause of the pain, but the different meds would be graduated from mild to moderate to severe, and again to end stage, end of life. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And in our conversation earlier on, you mentioned that at some point you were addicted to opioids, very strong painkillers.
Very strong painkillers.
Take us to the moment when you started taking this medication to now when you discovered that, okay, I'm having a problem here with painkillers.
I'm trying to remember when I started taking opioids. And also the opioids are graduated. There's mild opioids, and there's also like very potent, highly potent opioids like fentanyl, which I have taken, and which I have taken again for myself. Yeah. So you go to hospital, you're given pain meds, and you also watch how the doctors do it. And I can administer an injection on myself, not the intravenous ones, but intramuscular. I can here, even on the glutes. I can do it myself. I've watched it, and I would do it in a very sterile condition. I know that I should not recycle my syringes, I should not recycle my needles, and I should ensure that I have sterilized the site with surgical spirit. So it started with the tramadols, and which are available. Nowadays they're controlled. Actually, Yes, I've noticed they're controlled. You can't just get them. And then it moved on and it became stronger, and I was taking them for a longer period of time. And the risk with some of these pain meds is, first of all, if you take them for a longer period of time, your brain has opioid receptors. Your brain gets hooked to them. And these receptors, these pain meds also not only just kill your pain, they give you a sense of relaxation, a high. So I would go to hospital, I get a morphine injection, and I'm not just relieved of the pain, I am so much at peace, or I have a sense of a high. And that went on, and then it got to fentanyl. And I started procuring these things for myself, especially fentanyl. And I procured pethidine. Pethidine is also given when you're in pain, whenever you visit any of the hospitals. And once it got there, I didn't see why I should trouble myself to go to hospital to get this same thing if I can do it for myself.
You used to self-medicate?
Yes, and not just self-medicate, but administer injections. And it was because I was in pain. But then I moved on from being in pain only, but then to the next level, because these are very addictive medications which give you a high. I now was looking for the high. Yes. So that is how I zoned into addiction.
Okay. And kindly take us through the process of trying to do away with the addiction. Again, now you have to battle the pain and the addiction. How was it like for you?
That balance was hard, and it's good you mention it. And I had to see a pain specialist for it. And I really thank God for, should I mention his name? Dr. Mwaka. I think that man is just sent straight from God. He took me through it. He laid it out for me. And it's very important for you to improve your patient's health literacy so that they can understand. Because I'm harming myself, but I'm not noticing it. I'm not realizing it. But when he broke it down for me, I got to realize that, Trish, you really need to look into any other way of taking care of your pain. Because yes, they do. They tell you go for physiotherapy, take other meds, or combine this and that, and all that. So when I got into addiction and I needed to be gotten out of addiction, I was literally treated for addiction. And this is a science they call medication-assisted treatment, MAT. It's evidence-based, and they're doing it out there. It saddens me to see an addict here in Kenya being jailed because of addiction. Addiction is not a moral issue. Addiction is a health issue. Yes, I know we have some criminal aspects of this opioids and opioid-related, like heroin. It's also an opioid. It's only that it's the illicit type. By that, it's not so different from these other ones, which we use for medication. And it's sad that people out there don't know that you can be treated. So it can be tapered. That means that your dosage is slowly reduced. Or you can replace something which will fix the craving. Because you see, you're literally craving it. It's now no longer you, it's your brain. You're actually held captive. Yeah, you are. So when it's replaced, you will slowly be able to come out of it. Or you can be kept in rehab. You be flushed out, even if it means in intensive care that you are put to sleep. And then now, after that, you're slowly treated out of it, depending on how deep in addiction you are. So for me, it was a combination. Remember, I still have a pain problem. So they had to, first of all, taper. And I was put on a less potent opioid. We all take betapine. Betapine is an opioid. Codeine. Yeah. Tramadol, it's available in pharmacies. It's an opioid. So I had to be tapered. I was put on those. I was put on betapine. I was put on tramadol. Most of my prescriptions lately will either have tramadol or betapine. And then I was also maintained on a gabapentinoid, the ones for nerve pains. Okay. And I was put on something for anxiety, because then I became anxious what happens when the pain comes. Yeah, so I was put on something to help with the anxiety. Remember, opioids make you get relaxed. Yeah, I was put on something for that and to help me with sleep.
Okay.
That is how I was able to get out of the opioids. And it was a long-term treatment, almost over a month.
Okay.
Yeah.
And looking back, here you are addicted to pain meds. You're also going through pain. You're also a parent. How did it affect your life?
The dynamics. Whoa. That was a tough part. I thank God that my eldest is grown and she has left home. I also thank God that the other one is in boarding school, because you remain a shell of yourself, and a lot of times it takes over your faculties. So you definitely cannot be able to function normally. You can imagine going into a deep craving and having to find yourself in a bathroom, injecting yourself, passing out, and some of that passing out could easily have gone down so fast into an overdose. And let me say it at this point, there's no overdose where that person had intended to kill themselves. An overdose is just that you perhaps went on and took a slightly higher dose than normal because you were seeking a high, but your body could not handle that dose. So there's no overdose. Maybe there may be a case of a suicide, but most overdoses are just a high that was sought that went wrong. Yeah, so when you hear of cases of overdoses, those are lives that have been lost that we shouldn't have lost. It's just that that person was so deep in their addiction and they were looking for a bigger high. And that bigger high sent them in respiratory distress because these drugs overwhelm your respiration.
Okay.
Yeah.
And today you're able to manage your pain.
Yes.
Right? And you're out there speaking about pain management and chronic illness. What message do you have for people who are going through maybe a similar experience?
First of all, I'm an advocate of realizing a full life in fulfillment despite living with chronic conditions. We can do this. We can do this. Secondly, I would like to inspire those of us who are deep in addiction. I was there once and I came out of it. And I don't reflect the typical profile of an addict.
Yeah.
I'm master's schooled, not just first degree, master's schooled. Those bright people in society, people who are focused, parent, raised children, not dirty. So those people struggling with addiction out there are just any one of us. And it may as well be you or me. For me, chronic illness took me down that trench. It could be anything else, a party, a friend, and any other thing, stress, whatever it is. I want to inspire you. You can come out of it. And for society, let's stop the stigma. Again, I want to insist that drug addiction and opioid addiction, the right actually term right now is opioid use disorder. It's not opioid addiction. Okay. Opioid use disorder is not a moral issue. Those guys do not deserve to be in jail. Unless there are other criminal aspects of it, they deserve to be treated. Medication-assisted treatment is evidence-based and it's shown to treat people. I mean, look at me. Barely 8 months ago, I could not function well. But now, I'm going about my business. I can do almost anything, and I'm able to control my pain through other ways. For doctors, be compassionate and provide alternatives. And when you see that your patient's pain is severe, in as much as you administer this, let the patient know the risks. And let the patient know and monitor this patient that should they go down this drain, they can be treated and they can come out of it. Yeah. Yeah, and one last thing. I'm an advocate also for harm reduction. Some of these people will still inject themselves. So if they still will inject themselves, then let's provide them with cleaner syringes, cleaner needles, and even a safe space where they can come and inject themselves and not die. And should they have an OD, we can resuscitate them in good time and save a life and prevent blood infections and help them at least realize a life. Maybe we may someday get them out of addiction.